All right, so I just watched Deadpool and Wolverine. This is the latest movie in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It is the only MCU film of 2024, and I have thoughts. So I'll start off with things that I liked about the movie. Uh, Generally, the movie is funny. It's a Deadpool movie. They have the funny jokes, and I thought that most of them landed. A couple of them were, a little eye rolling. Some of them didn't really land at all for me. But yeah, generally speaking, I laughed throughout the film. Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds, they do end up having pretty good chemistry. I enjoyed watching them together. Hugh Jackman is back as Wolverine, obviously. He's as good as he's always been. And he delivers a good performance. He it also doesn't really tarnish like the legacy of the Fox X-Men movies. It doesn't, at least in my opinion. I know some people might have different different opinions after they watch it, but I didn't come out of the movie being like, oh, they ruined Logan. The Logan is ruined now. The legacy of Logan is ruined. I don't know. I don't really feel that way. Although I could definitely see some people feeling that way. So we'll see what the thoughts are of the general public once people start talking about it in open spoilery fashion. The action is there are definitely action sequences that I thought were quite good. Some of them not so much. Like, it's weird. There are like some action sequences where I'm like, damn, that's super creative and I like what you're doing there. And it's like very clear what's happening. It's like a wide shot. We're just seeing people doing action stuff, and then other times it's like very like shaky camera. You can't really tell what's going on. It's like it was almost like they had like two different cinematographers on the movie. One of them knows how to shoot action, the other ones don't. And then as far as like big cameos and like, oh my gosh, pointing at the screen, soy facing, and whatnot. Yeah, like this movie definitely has that. There are plenty of them that I did not know about. Like, pretty surprised actually that it didn't get spoiled. But yeah, they managed to get them in there without it getting out, and I was definitely surprised. I didn't soy face or point at the screen because I have a sense of dignity, to be honest. But yeah, it was pretty cool. Also, shout out to the audience that I watched it with. This was opening night. I watched it at like 6:30. These are prime MCU fans, presumably. No applauses, no applauding, no cheering. When a character jumped out of a portal, nobody did that. And I was able to hear the dialogue after the character shows up. So shout out to you guys. I appreciate it. I'm just kidding. No hate to anybody that does that. That's what these movies are for. Although, actually, another shout out to the movie. They don't do the thing that No Way Home does, where once like when Tobey Maguire jumped out of the portal, he didn't just like pause awkwardly for 10 seconds in order for people to get the applauses out. They didn't really do that, so I appreciate that as well. But yeah, I like, this is gonna be a weird comparison. This movie is a lot like the Super Mario Brothers movie for me. There is a lot in this movie that is fan service, and I am a fan, and I felt serviced, and I enjoyed the movie because of those things. However, like the Super Mario Brothers movie, I still come out of it being like, it just wasn't a good movie. Like, when you take into account like the scripts and just the story and like the character arcs and the just basics of filmmaking, it just wasn't particularly good. Like, the movie has like a bunch of dramatic elements. It's not, just jokes all the time. And sometimes it was actually quite effective, right? Like, there's like one scene in particular that I actually thought was really good, but most of it just doesn't. It's just not well structured. Most of the time, like the dramatic scenes just fall kind of flat, and I'm like, you didn't do a good job of setting this up. The pacing of the movie was awful. Like, it was just like the editing of it, really. Like, it comes down to the editing of the movie was not particularly good. It also has a lot of the problems that a bunch of, recent MCU films have, where it just doesn't look particularly cinematic, like, my very minor spoiler, there's a Mad Max joke in it, right? And that was not a good idea to have a joke, because a lot of this movie does take place in a wasteland, which you see in the trailer. It reminds me of how you can actually shoot a desert well and have it be interesting. George Miller has proven this. They don't do that in this movie. It's all just people standing in front of a green screen. It's all just people standing in like on a set, and the camera, like the camera movements and the angles and the shots, none of it looks particularly interesting. I mean, sometimes it does. I'm not saying it always looks static and boring, but most of the time it does. And that's the ultimate thing that I want to get across in this video. I enjoyed watching the movie for what it was, I will say it's not as bad as the Mario movie. To me, the Mario movie felt like AI generated. I'm not going to sit here and say that that Deadpool and Wolverine is as bad as that, but it is, at the end of the day, just kind of bland and mediocre. And it is elevated by, yes, a lot of the Easter eggs and references and cameos that are admittedly exciting and fun. And the main thing, the main message that I want to get across here is that I'm not here to like diminish your enjoyment because you love the movie because of those things. Also, if you just disagree with everything that I'm saying here, and you do think that that the movie is well made, if you did think that the emotional beats were earned, if you did think that the pacing was good and all that, that's also perfectly valid. But, and again, this is just very similar to my rhetoric on the Mario movie, if you agree with me that the movie isn't particularly well made, please do not, in response to what I'm saying, say, well, it didn't have to be good. It's just a Deadpool movie. It's just a comedy. It doesn't have to have a good story. Because I've never been more triggered. I've never gotten more triggered when it comes to discussing a movie than when, in response to somebody saying that the Mario movie is bad, so many people say, well, it's a Mario movie. It's not supposed to be good. Oh, it's just a kid's movie. It's not supposed to be good. It's like, I just want people to understand when we're talking about this movie, right, Deadpool and Wolverine, that it can have all of these great elements that we all love, the cameos and the references and the yada yada yada. It can have all of that while being shot as good as Mad Max. It can have all of that while having a really great script. It can have all of that while having emotional beats that feel earned. It can have all of that while being the comedic Deadpool movie that it is. Like, we can have all of the fan service along with a good filmmaking. It's not a one or the other. We can actually have both. So I just wish that people weren't so complacent. And by the way, I don't know what the response to Deadpool and Wolverine is. Maybe the audience score is going to be like in the 50s. I actually don't know. But I was just reminded of the Mario movie, and I could fucking see into the future. That's so Raven style that I'm going to have to deal with people being like, well, it's just a Deadpool movie. It doesn't have to be good. Because I'll tell you what, the first Deadpool movie is actually a really good, solid movie. The first Deadpool movie is still by far the best Deadpool movie, in my opinion. And I don't know, like the other big question is, well, did Deadpool and Wolverine save the MCU? No. Like, there's still, like, a lot of the same problems that recent MCU projects, they are in this movie. It's it has bland cinematography. The script doesn't feel well fleshed out or well thought out. They've gone on, by the way, they've gone on record saying that that the movie went through various different processes, and then when when Hugh Jackman agreed to be in the movie, they rewrote the whole thing. So it's it still has the same too many cooks in the kitchen problems, and not solid not solid visions being put into these projects. That it has all the same problems that past MCU movies have had. And so are people going to like this movie? I assume yes. I think they will. I think people will enjoy the fan service. A bunch of people are going to disagree with my opinion. They're just going to think it's a good movie. But I'm watching this movie and I'm like, this doesn't give me any indication that Captain America Brave New World is going to come out, is going to all of a sudden be the Winter Soldier. This doesn't give me any indication that Agatha All Along is going to magically be a good Disney Plus show when we've had so many bad ones back to back. I don't see any indication that the MCU is going to just magically be better now. I hope I'm wrong, right? I hope that this is the last bastion of the old MCU that's, it was already finished, so they kind of just had to release it as it is, and that now they've actually gone in and reworked Captain America Brave New World, and it's going to be great, that they've, done what they needed to do with Thunderbolts and Agatha All Along and Daredevil Born Again, and that those are going to come out better than this, and it is actually going to be a brand new MCU, but Deadpool and Wolverine is just not an indication of that. So, at the end of the day, it's not an awful time. I didn't have an awful time watching it. In fact, I enjoyed watching it. I enjoyed the cameos. I enjoyed the fan service. There are good, funny jokes in it. So, some of the action is actually pretty decent. But when it comes to just, basic aspects of filmmaking, when it comes to just being a good, solid movie on its own, it unfortunately just kind of fails on that front. I will say though, one last thing that I will compliment the movie on. They really did just let Ryan Reynolds say whatever he wanted. To their credit, to Disney's credit, they openly talk about how the MCU is in a slump right now. They openly address it. They openly address mistakes that have happened in a very open and direct and honest way. So I'll say that that was actually pretty cool to see, but it was unfortunately just weird them talking about how bad the MCU has been while making yet another not really all that great MCU movie. This just is what it is. But let me know what you think in the comments down below. Again, if you disagree with me and you do think it's a genuine good movie, that's great. I love that for you. But if you agree with me that the movie is not particularly good, right? Just the filmmaking aspects of the movie, not the cameo stuff, just the basic filmmaking aspects of the movie. If you agree with me that that stuff is not particularly good, it could be. You don't need to just accept mediocrity. I'm not saying you can't enjoy mediocrity. I enjoyed mediocrity for what it was worth. But we can also want more from these movies, okay? So just pointing that out. Anyways, let me know what you think in the comments down below, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.